Anyway, this is a lot about how you organize photos on your Mac using the Mac app. So I think everyone probably knows me at this point. I was a high-tech marketing guy in my real life. I surprisingly grew up with computers growing up in a small town in South Central Wyoming. And for some reason, they acquired an IBM 1620 in the mid 60s. And I fell in love with computers at that point and never looked back. And as you probably know, I'm with the SCTC Senior Center Tech Connect. So that's that. I always like to have a little intro. This presentation is for you, Sharon, so that you can go through these bullets and see if it's for you. How's that sound? Uh, if you have a Mac and you need to get your photos organized, or you want some tips and tricks on photo organization, um, or you're thinking of buying a Mac and you want to know what it'll do specifically with photos, or I always like to say, if you just like cool stuff. I will say, I think that's the next, let's go through the agenda here. The first part, we're going to talk about what the Photos app is. This may be hard to see for y'all. I've got a pretty high resolution, but I'll try to keep the bullets bigger. And how does it work, and what are collections and albums? And then we're going to talk about AI, and then that part is what I call the not particularly useful but mildly entertaining section. So we're not going to have a test on that part. In fact, you can snooze through it if you want. But the second part, we're going to have a test on it, so you need to pay attention. That's the informative and hopefully useful section. And it's going to have kind of all of these features that you see here. All right, first of all, we use the word curate, and it's perfect for this because what we're doing is sorting and organizing our photos. And so I thought I'd throw in the definition here, and it as it applies to our photos. That's what we're going to be doing, is curating our photos library. All right, part one, what is photos and how does it work? Just on the side here, speaking of I used Copilot to create this image right here. I said, create an image of an old-fashioned camera shown in profile with multiple photos emitting from the
No.
lens left to right. And it came up with this image. So this image is AI generated, and it's unique to me. There's not another one like it in the world. So I do this a lot. We're all starting to use AI a lot, and this is one of the things it does pretty well. All right, so let's take an overview. First of all, Photos is an app on your Mac. Now, there is a similar app on your iPhone and iPad, and pretty much everything we talk about here today will be the same on your iPhone and your iPad. Um, Thank you, Daryl. But we're going to use the Mac as the example for these. The Photos app, its whole goal in life is to help you organize photos and videos and to be able to search for them and find the photos that you want. Also, it facilitates sharing with others, and we're going to talk more about that. You can also edit and enhance photos. And you can synchronize your photos across all your devices, even a PC. If you have a PC and you have an iPhone, we have a whole presentation on that. I don't know when we're going to give it, sometime in the next couple of months. If you have a PC and an iPhone, you're kind of mixing and matching vendors there, but you can make it work with your photos. I happen to believe, it's my opinion, that the Photos app on the Mac is the best app that Apple creates. It's absolutely amazing. It just works, and it works really well, and it does all of the things you really want to do with your photos. It's great. So that's kind of my advertisement for the Photos app. All right, when you first bring up the Photos app, you'll see a couple of things over here on the side. Now, again, the iPhone and iPad version of this is similar, but the interface is a little bit different. But it has all of these same things here. it's important to remember that the library contains all of your photos. Every photo that you put into the Photos app is in the library. Um, then there are things called collections, and collections are the way that photos are organized so that you can see them. So one of those ways is something that you manage, and that is called albums. And everything else in here is managed by AI on your Mac or your iPhone or your iPad. So we're going to look at albums, which is manually managing things. And then we're going to look at all of these other things that AI manages. And then finally, there's sharing, and we're going to talk more about that. Lets you send in and receive invitations to share photo albums. And by the way, if anybody has a question, you can just raise your hand or um, just say
There
something.
was a question about AI being available on only certain models.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's because I don't have the chat up here. Um, yeah, this AI is available on any Mac that runs Mac OS 12 or greater. Uh, I don't know. We'll have to look at that when we get done here. Now there is Apple Intelligence, and that's only on iPhone 15s and greater. But that's kind of a different thing. Apple Intelligence isn't really used here. So that's an excellent question. Um, we have another whole session on Apple Intelligence as well, but we're not using that feature from Apple for the photo manipulation. Good question. All right, so let's look at the library first. And as I mentioned, it contains all of your photos. And it is by default organized by the date that the photo was taken. If there's no date taken on the photo, then it's the date that it was loaded into the photo library. Almost all photos in the last 10 years that are taken by SLRs or SLTs or phones will have a date on them. But we all have, or many of us, especially in the genealogy crew, have lots of photos from the 20s and 30s and 40s that we scanned, and those will not have the date they were taken on them. That's a different issue altogether. You can manually add the date, though. Um, so everything else here, these collections, is just how you view the library. That's the important thing to remember, and it's once you get used to it, it makes sense, but it's a little counterintuitive to start with because we're used to, for example, in the old days, we would organize our photos in folders on our computer. And you generally have either the name of the people that were in the photos or the dates or folders within folders. That's not how it works here. This is a big flat file that's got, or is essentially a file that's got all your photos in it. And then how you look at it is all of these things called collections. So, Daryl, I don't have the chat up. So if somebody,
Therese has
Therese
her
has a
hand
hand,
up.
here we go.
Uh,
Therese, what's up?
I have a question. What is the limit of the number of photos you can have in your photo library? I have like 29,000 and I literally 29,000. I kid you not. And I am trying to figure out how to manage them. If you
Well,
remember,
first of
you
all, you
were
have to,
here, you put a lot on. And since then, my phone, I've been, taking
yep.
my blood pressure pictures and stuff like that. But I just wondered what the limit was.
It's essentially limited by your disk space.
Oh, I've got plenty of disk
Yeah.
space.
So, but you'll need a Mac.
I have a Mac.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought you were
Well, you
using.
came here and you saw it. I have a 24-inch screen.
Oh my God. Oh,
It's
that's right. You have an iMac.
16 with yeah, it's a special
Yeah.
build.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
on the Mac.
yeah. Well, yeah. Then we're going to show you how to organize them.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Um, all right, so the library, I went back. The library contains all of your photos, and then there are collections. And collections is the word that Apple uses for a view of photos in the library. So it's groups of photos. It can be based on photos you select, that is albums, or it can be chosen by Apple AI. And again, this is not Apple Intelligence. That's built into the later iPhones. This is part of the Photos app itself. So we're going to look at albums first because that's manually grouping things together. All right, so this is kind of my way of looking at it. Albums are just a window into the library that shows photos that you choose. For example, I created an album here called Fire, and it's a window. And that through that window, I can see photos that I've chosen that have fire in them. Uh, the the album itself doesn't contain any photos. And again, that's a little counterintuitive because we're used to using folders and you can have folders within folders in the Photos app, but they're just a view into the library. So the important thing to note is that as you create albums, it's not taking any extra space on your computer because all it is a window into the library. Now, if you delete a photo from an album, it doesn't delete it from the library. So I can just say, hey, remove this video here from this album. That video will still exist in the library unless I use a special key combination that says, yes, I really want to delete this photo. But the default is just to remove it from the album. So to add photos to albums, you can see here, this is a collection called My Albums. And you can see I've got all kinds of albums here that I have manually created. And then one of those is Fire. And when you're in the app, and we can demonstrate this stuff. If anybody wants any of this demonstrated, let me know and we'll make a list of things that we're going to look at when we get done here. And we can go to the Photos app and demonstrate them. So you click on this plus sign, and then it creates you create the album, give it a name, and then you can just drag photos, or you can right click on photos and say add to the album. So it's pretty simple to add photos to the album. And albums can be folders that contain other folders. You can see down here, I have a folder called genealogy photos. Within that, there's about 100 different albums that contain photos by family and by date. So you can nest these things to help them get organized. So it looks like this. Here's my album Fire, right? I dragged these into that album. And now I have an album called Fire that has these photos in it. And again, this doesn't take any extra space because these are pointing to the library. They're not actually being copied into an album or a folder that contains the photos. So it doesn't take any extra space to add albums. All right, so let's start looking at how the AI in the Photos app helps you organize things. One is called media types, and I think, uh, hang on, I'm just now looking at the chat window here. Can someone turn off the doorbell sound that appears when a new person's coming in? I think probably not, but
Probably not. I don't think we
yeah.
can do that.
Okay, and I saw the AI model thing question. All right. So you can select videos and photos based on the media type. And you see here, this is called a disclosure triangle. And what we do is we click on that and we can see all the different kinds of photos that are in my library. If you're familiar with live photos, um, your iPhone takes live photos by default, and they're little like 2-second videos. There's a way to turn that off. We're going to have a session on taking photos with your iPhone uh, sometime maybe near the end of the year. Um, Portrait is a shallow depth of field shot, so you can blur out the background, panoramas, et cetera, et cetera. So these are all the different media types. And one of the uses for this is if you're running out of room and you've got, 300 or 400 gigabytes of photos, you can select the video type and you can see all of your videos. And it can tell you if you've got some really long videos in there, those will take a lot of space. So this is an example. For example, I click on slow-mo and it will choose all of the photos in my library, or sorry, all the videos since it's slow-mo in my library that were taken using the slow motion uh, feature of my iPhone. So my grandson here in slow-mo. Another one is screenshots. If you're familiar with taking a screenshot of your on your iPhone, um, these are all screenshots that have been taken on my iPhone. This is probably the best example down here in the corner because this is my home screen, my lock screen. Um, this is a screen snap of a message conversation I had with messages. This is a screenshot of the DNA results from my two of my dogs. So you can see those are um, were taken using the screenshot feature of the iPhone. And similarly, all of these things you can choose from, and we can demo that when we get done here. All right, so we talked about curation and we talked about the app. Let's talk about what is AI and how does it work. Um, so what better way to do this than to ask an AI chatbot what AI is? And of course, it gives this long, verbose, blah, blah, blah thing. The key really is the simulation of human intelligence. Um, it's it's pretty new that this has taken place like this, but it's absolutely amazing. For those of you that maybe have used a chatbot, you know what I'm talking about. In this particular context, we're talking about recognizing and understanding language and images. So that's really what the AI is useful for in the Photos app. Um, AI has been around for a long time, but this whole idea of language and images is pretty new. And it's new because of advances in technology, specifically semiconductor technology, that is the chip that's in your phone or the neural processing chips in your computer, and also computer science. They've developed these algorithms that allow AI to manipulate uh, images. So you can see here, we're talking about neural networks. It does mimic the human brain. It does need training. My 5-year-old grandson right now, his neural networks are in training, right? And I mentioned this, it's possible by this. Um, so you can see here, this is actually probably old. I think the new one's more like 50 trillion operations per second. If any of your computer folks, back in the old days, we used to measure computer performance in thousands of operations per second. This is a million times faster than that, just in your iPhone. That's just crazy. So you can see here, I asked Copilot to, I'm, as you probably know, an Aussie fan. It just turns out that neural networks and some combined with some math, are really good at image manipulation. And that includes not only photos, but things like handwriting, transcribing documents, perusing videos, and that sort of thing. So Copilot built this image here to kind of represent a dog, uh, the AI analyzing an image of a dog, specifically an Australian Shepherd. This is my little Indy here. She's 10 years old. And the way this works is it turns this image into pixels, feeds that into the neural network, and out pops an answer. In this particular case, we're saying, is this a dog? And this takes millions of cycles of training to train every one of these little artificial neurons in here, um, how to how to react when fed a certain input, and it cascades through here. This whole idea of neural networks and AI is a huge topic, but it's amazing how it all works. But the point is that it has to be trained. Um, all right, so now we get to the crux of the thing here, using AI to, hang on, let me put the chat in front here just in case somebody has a question. Um, so using AI to organize your photos. So we talked about collections. Uh, AI intelligently declutters and curates your photos and video. It does tons and tons of sorting and searching for you. And we're going to look at each of these as we go along here. So the first one, and probably the coolest, is this notion of people and pets. Since AI is so good at image manipulation, it can do face recognition. So it does organizes your photos by who's in them, not only your humans, but also your pets. And as you import new photos into the library, Photos looks at those that are coming in and identifies who's on them, so you can keep track of them. So, for example, this is a screen snap of part of my people that um, my Photos app recognizes. Got my grandson, got my sister, my mom, just everyone that is every human face that's in a photo is stored in here. Now I can turn them off and I can add names to them. And when you first start, you don't have any names, so you have to start naming them. But it recognizes them, and it recognizes them really well. I mean, you can turn sideways and it will recognize you from the side. It's crazy how it does it. Um, it does, so this photo scan runs in the background, and it runs even if you don't have the Photos app running, but your computer has to be on, obviously. So let's say you have a laptop and you've loaded 20,000 photos into it. It's going to take many days of it sitting there. Sorry, my dogs are wrestling here. Many days of sitting there to go through and organize, detect these faces and organize them. It also recognizes people and pets. Notice this is Cooper. He's right around here somewhere. He's 12 years old. He looks a lot like Indy. Indy's 10 years old. Uh, but the algorithms that identify these faces are good enough to keep them separated. You can see Bluey and Bingo that are the newest addition to the family here. And Poppy's one of my daughter's dogs. So it identifies these pet faces and will show you the photos that contain that pet. And we can demo that too. Hang on, let's make it. I'm going to make some notes about what we're going to demo. What else was it? Oh, photo types. So we can look at how that works. Probably the next coolest thing is this notion of the map. Um, Probably in the last 10 years, maybe even longer, the phones, all your phones, if you have it turned on, generally you have to turn it on, will tag a photo with the coordinates of where the photo was taken. My SLR also has that feature, and it's probably over 10 years old. So you have to turn it on, but it will actually add the latitude and longitude of where the photo was taken. And we're going to demonstrate this too. One of the best ways of finding a photo is to remember where it was taken. And it ends up looking like this. So if I just bring up the map, you can see here, I've got 7,556 photos taken right in this area in Colorado. And if I zoom in on that, it will start showing me the various locations like Longmont, Boulder, out here in Weld County, wherever places I've gone in Colorado. And you can keep zooming in until you find the exact location where that photo was taken, which is pretty cool stuff. And if I zoom out, it will show the whole world. Um, and, I have taken photos elsewhere in the world. It's pretty cool. We're going to demonstrate that. All right. There's a thing called memories, which is kind of useful. And what it is it uses AI to collect photos based on location, time, themes, and the quality of the photograph. It will actually say, well, this is a really high quality photo, or this one is framed really well. It's got some good stuff in it, and we'll add that to the memory. And other photos that were taken at the same time and place may not be in the memory because they're not as good of photos. So it's kind of cool how it does it. This is a sample of some memories on my Photos app, and I did not create these at all. Okay, this one is the Great Outdoors 2018. So what it did, anytime I was outdoors, like in the forest or whatever in 2018, it added a photo to that memory. Here's Cora, one of my daughters, over the years. So this is taken over a span of time, but with a specific person in it. Here's me among the trees. Here's daughter and grandson. Here's Laplace, Louisiana, so it knows that I was there. Um, Here's one on this day, August 4th. So what it did is it went through all the photos and it looked at photos that were taken on August 4th, which happens to be one of my daughter's birthdays, and it will show you all those photos. And again, it's creating these automatically. It sort of assumes what you might like, and you can turn them off and you can adjust them, you can delete them, but it's in general, it's creating these on its own, which is crazy. There's a bunch more of those, and we'll look at those when we get going here. So utilities is neat because it's more like um, not the content of the photo, but the context of the photo, like photos that I recently deleted, photos that have receipts. If I take a picture of a receipt at Fuzzy's Tacos, um, when I click on this, I will see all the receipts in my library, including the Fuzzy's Taco. Handwriting is cool. It will show you all the photos that have handwriting in them. Similar illustrations, if you've drawn something, and on and on. Imports are photos that you've recently imported, and we can talk more about that later. But this is handy for things like documents and stuff that you might take pictures of. Oh yeah, there's one also called duplicates. I didn't happen to have any duplicates here, but it will. Oh, I think we're going to talk about it. It won't show up unless you have some duplicates. I don't really like that, but it's the way it is. I've complained to Apple about that. It should show it no matter what. Okay, so this is an example of it finding duplicates. And if you think about it, um, this is a really complicated or intensive thing to do because you have to compare every photo with every other photo in your library. Uh, and in my case, Therese, that's 42,000 photos. So you can see here, these photos, just you can only see part of it. They're different sized. They're the same photo, but one of them's lower resolution than the other. And it will allow you to merge the best parts of the duplicate. So let's say I have one duplicate that's low resolution, but it has the location information. I've got another one that's higher resolution, but it doesn't have the location information. The app will merge the two so that it gets all of the metadata that's applicable to that photo at the highest resolution possible. So it's pretty cool. These two are absolutely identical. So you can simply delete one, and it will actually ask you if you want to delete one of those. Again, this works in the background when the device is on, and you're not using the Photos app. So you just got to leave your computer on and let the Photos manager run in the background. I mentioned it. So it lets you merge. We talked about that to retain the best attributes of all the duplicates. Um, all right, searching is kind of cool because here's where the language understanding of AI comes in. So find photos of a person, place, or thing, or event, or some combination of that. So you click the search bar up here, and for example, well, an AI knows thousands of things like cats, flowers, waterfalls. In fact, many of you probably use this feature on your phone where you take a picture of a flower, and it looks it up for you. This is a similar process. It can also find words in the documents, like or in the photos. Like if you have a document that has a word in it, like let's say will, it's part of your will or something. It will find that if you search for that word up here. So in this case, I put in waterfall, for example, and it came up with all the photos that have waterfalls in the photos. If I put waterfall or I put, let's say, Bobski waterfall, then it will find photos that have me in them and a waterfall, which is pretty cool. And we can demonstrate that too. Uh, all right. Finally, there's a thing.
Couple of questions in chat,
Oh, okay, yeah,
Bobski.
yeah, I don't see that. Uh, I have a recovered section in utilities. I don't know the answer to that, Karen, but we'll answer it for you at some point. Um, does each photo label contain who, what is enclosed in each category? Kathleen, I'm sh not sure I understand what you're asking.
If
Tell me
I go,
what you're asking.
if I go on my computer and click a particular category, will I get the same results as you are showing on your screen?
Um, if you click on a category like I don't know, slow-mo, right? You'll get I'm still not understanding the question, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. Never mind. That's okay.
Well, when we get working with the Photos app here,
Mhm.
um, guide me in figuring out what if we can help answer the question. How's that sound?
Sounds good. The part of
Okay.
a lot of the problem in technology is asking the right question, and
And
it's
undoubtedly,
hard to do.
it's the terminology that throws things.
Yes, yes.
I wanted to throw this in here because you can create what they call smart albums that are much more sophisticated ways of searching through your photos. And in this particular case, for example, I'm going to say I'm going to create a new smart album. It's a photo that was created within the last 30 days. It was taken with a Sony A77 SLT, single lens, translucent shutter, and the shutter speed was greater than 1/250th of a second, right? So I added all those things, and sure enough, it comes up with all of the photos that meet that criteria. And you can see this is extremely specific. I mean, and there's a zillion different things you can search for, not just the camera, shutter speed, aperture, uh, all kinds of things like that. So if you're getting beyond just these normal collections that you can search, this thing will do it for you. I was gonna say we probably ought to let's switch to the Photos app here real quick. This is my Photos library. And what a quick shortcut that if you have a Mac and you're open your Photos library, if you click on the library up here twice, it will take you down to the bottom of the library, sorted by date. and it will show you how many photos and videos you have, for example. And you can see this is live right now. This is my photos album, I mean library. So and you can see I've got 42,000 photos, and it was synced with iCloud just now. Now up at the top here, you can say all photos, which is what we're looking at here, or you can say I just want to look by years. And let's say I pick a year like 2013 and I click on that. Then it switches to months. So now I'm looking through the months of 2013. You can see this is December of 2013, January 2014, right? So I'm going to go back to all photos. There's some other things you can do. You can change the aspect of the photos that you're looking at to make them this square mosaic. You can see all of them are square regardless of you can choose some things that are favorites. For example, I can favorite, see that little heart there? I can say this is a favorite picture. And then when I go over here to favorites, these are all of my favorite pictures, and you can see that's one of them. I'm going to unfavorite it. Go back to the library. What else is there? Oh, we want to look at photo types real quick. So media types, here's videos. So these are all videos. You can see these are 1 second videos right here, which probably means it was a live photo taken with my camera. I can go in and edit that and make it a regular photo, turn it away from being a video. But you can see some of these are, 20, here's one 42 seconds long. That probably takes a lot of space in my photo album. Selfies are photos that were taken with the front-facing camera of the of your iPhone. Live photos we mentioned, those are photos that get taken. Let's see. Yeah. You can see that it's a little clip of a video. And we've probably all, if you have an iPhone, you've probably taken these often by mistake. And I can show you how to turn that off if you want. Let's go back to the library. Time lapse. The panoramas is cool. These are all panoramas, right? That are taken as panorama. If you've ever taken a panorama with your iPhone. As you can tell, I spend a lot of time out in the Wyoming desert. Time lapse is cool. Time lapse is, for example, here's a time lapse of the weather in my backyard. And this is taken probably over about 30 minutes. You can see this rainstorm here. Time lapses are really fun to take, but you have to keep your Oh, I'm mowing the yard. That's it. You have to keep your camera still for, half an hour or something while it takes it. But it's pretty cool. Slow-mo, cinematic. Cinematic is a different kind of framing. You can see I did that. I only have one. Bursts, screenshots, raw. If you're familiar with taking raw photos, it's a way of capturing all of the exposure information in a photo. All right, so those are media types, people and pets. And you can see these are all the people in my photos album. And if I say, I want all the photos of, let's say, Indy. This is Indy. And these are all the photos of Indy. This is one of my favorites right there. Indy's zonked out. I was trying to find one where Indy is just, here we go. You can see Indy's right here. And it found that face in the photograph. Now I can also turn on face names. So you can see, it may be hard to see, but it's labeled each of the people that are in the photograph. It didn't catch these guys, but Lily's a pup. Bullet's here. It should have got Cooper. It didn't. Here's Indy. So that's kind of how people and pets works. It's kind of cool. Let me turn off hide face names. And oh, let's look at the map. So you can see if I just bring up the map here, and we got 7,000 photos in Colorado. I'm going to slowly zoom in. I'm using the zoom wheel on my mouse here. You can see this number is going down because you're bringing in photos elsewhere in Colorado. So you can see these photos are taken. Here's Frederick. This is where I live. Okay. We can look at up in Wyoming, where I spend a fair amount of time because I'm from Wyoming, right? And if I say, oh, I was on Cow Creek and I remember taking a photo, and you can just click on it, and this is all of those photos taken at that location. So again, it's one of the quick ways of finding photos based on where you think you took the shot. How do you activate face names? On the view menu. So if you're running the Photos app up on the menu, you know how the Mac works with the menu up on the top of the bar. Click on view. Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to see this, but it'll show face names is one of the options under view. Did that answer your question, Kathleen? Anyway, I think this is pretty cool. This is not my photograph. This is my daughter's photograph. She's getting ready to jump off that cliff, believe it or not. Uh, that's map. What else do we have? Oh, search. So let's go back to the library here. So up in the upper right is search. Let's say Bobski waterfall. All right, so it found 4 photographs, and you can see, sure enough, those are photos with a waterfall and Bobski. Let's say Frederick and Moon. These are all photos that are taken. This is taken from my backyard of a moon set. This is, I think that's Jupiter and the moon. And these are taken at that. Oh, this is a solar eclipse. So it's not the moon, it's the sun, but it didn't know the difference. Anyway, so these photos were all taken from basically my backyard of the moon. So you can search for just about anything. It's absolutely amazing. Tomatoes. Yeah, I'd say that's tomatoes. Interesting. Chopped tomatoes it found. Look at this. Here's some tomatoes. Even though I was taking a picture of the temperature. Oh, this is what I planted this year in my garden. This was taken recently, August 19th. Anyway, was that a
Excuse me,
duplicate?
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a new Mac, and when I go up to the search, and I search on people, dogs, whatever, and I know there's lots of pictures of those, nothing is coming up. Do I need to train it to do this?
So first of all, just to make doubly sure, you are in the Photos app, right? You got the Photos app
Correct.
running?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How long have you had your Mac?
About 3 weeks.
It should have found them by then. It does take a while, and is it a laptop?
Yes,
Okay.
an Air.
Okay. So make sure you leave it on with the case open, sitting on your
Okay.
desk for a couple of days.
Okay.
The
We
screen doesn't have to be
typically
on.
shut it all the time, so that may be the issue.
Yeah, because when it's
Yeah.
shut, it goes to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but you make a point here, dogs. So you can see here it says 800 plus photos for dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it found them. So
Hmm.
yeah, Debbie, it should definitely find those.
Okay. I'll leave it open because like I say, we always close it. So
How
I'll
many
do that.
photos do you have?
I don't know.
Click on the
Uh,
library over here, and then click on
I'm
the.
not getting all those things. Um,
Oh, well, make sure. See this little icon up here on the left, right here. I don't know if you can see see that little right up here on the left. There's a little sidebar icon. Click on that and make sure that it expands your sidebar.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work at that because I'm not seeing that on mine. Uh,
Okay, yeah,
so
bring it in to one of our drop-ins, and we'll
yes,
take a look at it.
one of us will be there on Friday.
Okay, great. Yeah, it'll be good
Thank
to
you.
talk to you.
Thank you. Sorry.
No, no worries. I think that's kind of all the demos we wanted. Let's go look at sharing, and then we can, if you have more questions, we'll delve into them. Okay. So there's this thing called shared albums, and it's it's really useful when you have like a family event or um, you want to share new family photos or something like that. And it's a central place for photos, and you can make it public if you want. We don't have any public photos, but the thing to remember here, and this is a little nuance, is a shared album, anyone that's invited to it, you can make it so they can contribute. So if we go on a family vacation, for example, or we have a family get together here, we create a shared album, and you can see here one of them is called Masson Family Photos, and we have everyone can contribute to it. If someone contributes a photo from their iPhone, we can all see all the photos, but they're not necessarily in our library, which means we can't, for example, edit that photo unless we make a copy of it in our library. It's a little nuance, and it's and it it's not obvious when you first do it, but so for example, here you can see this is the Masson family photos. Um, Shared album. And these are all the people that are invited to it. And we've checked the box here that says subscribers can post. In other words, these people can contribute photos to this shared album. I've turned on notifications, so if someone submits a photo, I get a little pop-up on my phone and or on my computer that says, "Hey, Cora just submitted a photo to the Masson Family Photos album." So it's kind of a clever way. Now it does require iCloud. Um, you could do this with if you have a PC with running Windows, but it'd be a little roundabout. But for a phone, I don't think you could do it with an Android. You'd have to do it with an iPhone. With an iPhone, it's really easy. It's just built into it. Okay, and also there's a pretty sophisticated photo editing capability, and you can see over here on the right, these are just a smattering of the things that you can change when you bring up a photo. So this photo of one of my daughters eating her s'more here, you can change things like the exposure, the brightness, contrast. You can change the color balance of it. You can change saturation. And there's a zillion more things down here that you can change. You can crop it, rotate it. There's some built-in filters that you can apply to it, like you want it to be a little more warm, or you want it to be vivid and warm, you can apply those filters automatically. And this little magic wand up here will actually let AI figure out what the best look for this photo is, and it will make adjustments to all of these variables to create what it thinks is the best image that you're looking for. It's pretty good at it. If you click on this automatic, it cleans it up nicely. Most of the time, it's the exposure, as you might expect. There's another feature. Now, this does require Apple Intelligence. It's called Cleanup, and I can demonstrate this also on the. If I bring up this photo of the sunset, and I can get rid of objects in the photo, and you can see here, I'm going back and forth. I'm toggling this. This is before. This is after. So I did an automatic adjustment of the image. That's why it's a little brighter. And I also removed the car and the sign from the image, which is really quite clever. So what that means is even if you're editing a photo, you do not need to make a copy of it. The photo app makes that copy for you. So no matter what you do to the photo, you can always restore the original. All right. Finally, there's a thing called projects. And projects is things like books, calendars, slideshows. It will automatically create slideshows if you just take a bunch of photos and say, hey, I want to create a, let's see if I've got, I don't have that. Let me show you live here. Here's some projects. So these are all the projects. Now, some of these are old and it probably doesn't work, but if you click on this, it invokes a third party, and it can be like Fujifilm has one. This company called Mimeo Photos has one. And you can see this is down here below is what the pages of the book look like. And you can, you can say, okay, here's what my pages are going to look like. And you just drag photos from from an album. Let's see if I can do this. So I'm applying a bunch of photos here. Let's put that one there. Let's put this one over here. Here's a plan. So I'm creating a book here. So that's how projects works. And again, projects include oops, let me hide albums here. Oh, here we go. These are the kinds of projects you can add. Books, calendars, cards, wall decor, so to make a wall painting, prints. You can order prints straight away. Slideshows. And for example, on the slideshow, you can say you can pull in an audio, like a song or two songs, and it will take whatever the photos you add in there and match them up to that length of that song. So if you have a 3-minute long song and 20 photos, it will put them in there, and the duration of each photo will be whatever it takes to make those 20 photos come up in 3 minutes. It's kind of cool how that works. Okay. And finally, looking at photos from other apps, and for example, Google Photos. It's not a good idea to mix Google Photos and Apple Photos. And in fact, if you have both turned on your phone, you're storing duplicate photos. You're storing the same photo in both Google Drive and your Apple iCloud. So you should turn off one of them, probably Google Photos, unless you have a PC. If you have a Mac and an iPhone, don't use Google Photos. You've got Apple Photos there. We can help you with this. If you have a bunch of Google Photos and you want to move them over to the Apple Photos app, there's a process for doing that. And you can see here you use Google Takeout, which downloads all your photos, and then you import them into the Apple Photos app. It depends on how many photos you have, but it's a fairly straightforward process. Okay, so what time was it? 11, about an hour, not too bad. So Photos is a great app, no question about it. I love it. And it lets you share and it lets you organize your photos. And of course, if you have other Apple devices, you can. And I should say, you can also synchronize with a PC. You can access your iCloud on your PC in a variety of different ways. We have a whole session on that, or come see us at the drop-in. And obviously, you can edit them.
Well, friends, that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed this video today. Hey, before you go, if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you'd like to know when the latest SCTC video comes out, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And if you have any ideas or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to leave a comment below. We'll see you next time.